Erika Grey joins us in our prophecy report. You can find information on her at erikagray.com. Erika, thanks for joining us again. It's good to connect with you.
It's always great to connect with you, Michelle, and be on this show.
Well, there are some big news stories that are going on from North Korea, the French election, and many other things that I think we just don't pay a whole lot of attention to because we're busy deciding if someone should speak at a college campus or not.
Wow. Well, exactly. The North Korean crisis, if you want to call it that, fulfills Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. So we see the fulfillment of those various verses with this going on right now before our eyes.
Yeah, North Korea, especially when you start thinking, and we think of things happening in the Middle East as way over there. We think of North Korea as way over there because of our geographic location. Radical Islam doesn't affect us as much. We have this idea that Islam can be this moderate thing. And it is in America to some degree, but this is not the case in every country where Islam is in power, where it is a political force. It is a violent, it is a affront to women, kind of a religion. But we just are so isolated in our own culture. We're not seeing some of the issues that are really happening around the world. Then when we hear the news story that, wow, Hawaii's on high alert, suddenly it's hitting a little closer to home and it wakes us up a bit.
Exactly, and then we pay attention.
Yeah, and we should. But again, now these are disturbing news stories. But as you talk often on with your prophecy talk at erikagray.com, we see that there is hope. And even in Matthew 24, which you just quoted, don't be dismayed. Don't worry. Don't sweat it. I got this, God says. And of course, that's the Michelle abridged version.
Okay.
So your thoughts,
yes,
though, on some of the issues that are coming out of North Korea and how they fit in, maybe some specifics and things that we need to have on our radar.
Well, it's frightening. You have China that put its bombers on high alert. Russia sent ships following our ships. And there's a potential for a real serious conflict there. And it fulfills the signs that we are expected. At the same time, as you brought out, you have the French elections, and you have Macron, who won, who is pro-European Union. He is a federalist, which means it looks like he will be poised to win on May the 7th. And if he wins, France is a major country in the European Union. He's going to help push the EU forward. So we see the sign of wars and rumors of wars with North Korea and the U.S., and we see the French elections and the possible outcome as thrusting the EU even more so towards political union.
Wow,
that is the impact Macron will end up having on the EU.
Let's take a listen to some of the updates from the French election. We'll take a listen.
The results from the first round of the French election have revealed a country divided in two. France is split, both along geographical and social lines. On the one hand, an urban pro-European electorate backing Emmanuel Macron, and on the other, an anti-EU working class supporting Marine Le Pen. Geographically, the division cuts from northwest to southeast. Macron has seduced mostly big cities, Paris, Bordeaux, Lyon, and the west of the country. Marine Le Pen has her support in the countryside, the northeast and the southeast. Macron's voters are mainly managers, in contrast to Le Pen, who has the majority of her support from low-income workers. If we look at the last election, 47% of those who voted for Socialist President François Hollande turned to Macron on Sunday, while 6% of Hollande's voters backed Le Pen, who retained 84% of her voters from 2012.
Now, that's an interesting story in itself, but here's something that I want to get our guest Erika Gray's thoughts on. This sense of complete unrest and dissatisfaction that is sweeping the globe, even with this French election as protests ensue.
Thousands of students have taken to the streets of Paris to march against Emmanuel Macron and Marine Le Pen, the two candidates remaining in France's presidential election. Violence broke out during the march as demonstrators started throwing projectiles. In response, police fired tear gas. The rally, organised by anti-fascist and anti-capitalist student groups, began as a sit-in in some high schools and colleges, while others gathered Place de la République. Some younger demonstrators said as they don't have the right to vote, they had to find other ways to express themselves.
Erika, it looks like the world is setting itself up for a needed peacemaker.
Absolutely. And it's amazing that the protests anti both candidates and the violence, and we saw the same violence with our recent election. And you're seeing this unrest again, which was predicted by Jesus, wars, commotions, riots. So that's a symptom, I believe, we're seeing with the French elections as well. What's interesting about Marine Le Pen is if she were to get in, that would be a serious blow to the EU because she wants to pull out. She wants to pull out of the euro. She's not going to win. I've already said that we're going to see Macron get elected, and when I come back next, we'll see the results of that. And because the EU is going to continue to move forward, and he's going to help push it forward. Also would like to point out that there was an article about ISIS now that its foreign fighters are now exiting, and that the caliphate is crumbling, because in Bible prophecy you had the evangelicals divided among, is the final world empire the revived Roman, or is it this caliphate? And a lot of them were turning to the idea of the ISIS caliphate as going to sweep the globe. So I want to point out that now is not, it was never a possibility, and I've always taught against it because it really did not fulfill the predictions, but now we're seeing that the caliphate is crumbling, which again is more evidence of the EU as the final world empire, which the evidence is already there, is the EU is the final world empire, but a lot of evangelicals didn't believe it. So now, they're seeing this caliphate crumbling.
Oh, and each time we talk, it gets more and more interesting because we're dealing with biblical truth. Erika Grey can be found at erikagrey.com, ErikaGrey, erikagrey.com. Fascinating information, and we have her on a regular basis because it's not just about the news that's being reported. It's about how it fits into his story in history. Erika, thanks for joining us today. Until next time, we'll look forward to your prophecy report.